Brother.
Oh, yeah.
Brother.
It is Friday, May 27th.
Gotta get down on Friday.
Oh, yeah. And this is another episode of the Deep Six Wrestling Podcast. It is the Impact Power Hour. I am Ryan.
I'm Angelo.
Yeah, Angelo's still our Deep Six champion heading into the weekend.
Yeah, that could all change on Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, if it doesn't, it's looking like it at the end of the Best of Super Juniors. Currently.
Yeah. Oh, is the belt on the line?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So hopefully I just lose it, in a nice fashion in a Double or Nothing, because I'm getting decimated right now in our rankings. Pat's 10 points ahead of me.
Yeah.
The Super Junior rankings. So, yeah, if I lose graciously at Double or Nothing, I'll accept that.
Yeah. I mean, the title won't be on the line for Best of Super Juniors if like Jake ends up winning, or Sam wins.
True.
At Double or Nothing.
All right. Well, I'd like to see that anomaly. I'd like to see Sam win.
Yeah. Then we all did Best of Super Junior predictions for nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So that's all right.
But yeah. So Best of Super Juniors are going on. Pat has been graciously doing reviews, keeping everybody up to date on that. He's been putting up the podcast basically all the time. I know he was recording a podcast for the last episode or the last show, I believe, earlier today. So that should be up on the podcast feed before this one. If you want to listen to it and hear his thoughts, his reactions about what's going on in Best of Super Juniors. We're just going to mention real quick.
You should care about Super Juniors, not just for the New Japan stars, as Ryan's going to mention. There's people like Ace Austin, people that you see on TV in the U.S. here, like Wheeler Yuta.
Yeah,
very involved. So
so Ace Austin, I wasn't sure how Ace Austin would do in Best of Super Juniors because, as we know, this was as Ace Austin has talked about, this is his first ever tour of Japan. He's not an established name in Japan. He hasn't done anything in New Japan, I don't believe, even on like New Japan Strong. So wasn't sure how he was going to do. I thought maybe they just he was in the toughest bracket. He's got Hiromu Takahashi in there. He had Taiji Ishimori, who is the current junior champ in New Japan. He's gotten through. He's had matches against both of them now. He lost to Hiromu, which I think was expected. Which commentary confirmed on this last show that Scott D'Amore and Ace Austin have both told them that Hiromu is in line for an X Division title shot the next time he is in the United States of America. Well,
that'd be incredible. So
yeah. I think it would be very interesting if he gets added into the Ultimate X match at Slamiversary.
I think wild. It's kind of like an open invitation. Yeah. Like if you're in the States,
yeah. But he is a crazy person, so he might be like, give me that empty spot in that. Who knows? Also, interestingly, Impact posted because they upload random shows and stuff like that throughout the week on YouTube, but they just put up randomly. Normally it's like, pay-per-views that are leading up to whatever the next pay-per-view is. So it's like, Slamiversary is coming up. Here's a bunch of old Slamiversary matches or the best of Slamiversary. But they upload the best of Super X Cups. So maybe that would come back. That would be a fun thing, especially with it seeming like they have their relationship with AAA still. They've got their relationship with New Japan, and New Japan is coming back and forth in America now. Could bring in some big names from the indies as well as they've done over the past. So
a really good point out then, Ryan. That could be foreshadowing to what you're saying, a potential Super X Cup again.
Yeah. Because the last one kind of flew under the radar when they had that. Ace Austin won. They had a few random indie guys on there that were in the Ohio Valley wrestling circuit basically. Right. And then some established new Impact guys. But normally it's the best of whoever they can get from around the world. So hopefully they can redo that this summer at some point. I know just because New Japan has put out most of their schedule for the summer. We do have the G1 coming up. So the juniors will have a break. They won't be in action most of the summer during the G1 because they're not really used during that unless they're in it for some reason. But I don't think they would be.
They don't even wrestle tag team matches.
No. Well, occasionally they will, but normally the tag matches would be the people who are in the tournament but aren't wrestling that day.
Yeah.
So maybe that would be their time to come on over to America, kind of like how the big boys have been traveling around the world doing their shows now since they're not being used during Best of Super Junior time. Could be something we could see.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ace picked up probably his biggest win this last show. He beat Taiji Ishimori, the current New Japan Junior Champion. Little bit of controversy in it because he rolled up Taiji, but his shoulders were also on the mat. The ref counted, but he didn't see Ace's shoulders on the mat apparently, and so he awarded it to Ace. Commentary said it probably should have been a draw because both of their shoulders were pinned against the mat. But yeah, Ace grabbed the junior championship, kissed it, and then threw it over to Taiji. And it does seem like he's going to want to challenge there for that. Ace is currently the leader in his block in points.
That's incredible.
Yeah, he's the only person, I believe, in the entire tournament with 10 points already. So he's ahead of Taiji Ishimori by 2 points. He's ahead of Hiromu by 4 points, even though Hiromu is his only loss in the entire tournament currently. So very strong performance by Ace, who also is a fan favorite. As commentary has talked about over the tournament, him and Alex Zane have been really going at it on social media at trying to interact with the Japanese fans. Just trying to get recommendations for food places, for where to go visit. They've been tweeting in Japanese and stuff properly. And so apparently the Japanese fans have really taken a liking to them. And commentaries even talked about how they do meet and greets, and Ace is normally the person with the longest line of anybody for the meet and greets. There's a bunch of people whenever they show around the arena that have they've made up signs for Ace Austin. They're wearing the glasses that he comes out with. So yeah, Ace is striking it big over there.
Might have found your home.
Yeah. Very interesting. It's very interesting to see him work as a babyface in New Japan. Because, he's not a babyface in Impact. And as me and Pat have discussed, I don't think he's ever been a babyface in Impact. I think he's always just been a heel.
Yeah,
So it's very
I watched the
interesting.
Clark Connors match, and he didn't look like a baby face to me there.
Yeah. I think he's working mainly as like, if I'm facing a baby face, I'll work heel because I know how to do that. But he's like cheering on the fans. He's like giving everybody high fives. He was very much the baby face in this matchup against Taiji Ishimori.
Okay.
He's, as I told Angelo, I think last week, he's been tag teaming, or he was tag teaming during the single day shows where it was just like either A block or B block. Whenever he wasn't having like a tournament match, he was tag teaming with Tiger Mask, who is a very big baby face. So yeah, very interesting stuff. So yeah, it would be very cool to see Ace continue his run. Maybe this clearly shows that New Japan has a lot of respect for the X Division and Impact if they're pushing him so hard. He's having a better tournament than Wheeler Yuta.
Is the Hiromu. Yeah.
And this is his group was the one that I think me, Pat, anybody who looked at it, we're like, this is the toughest group to get points in. Like, he's probably gonna be middle of the road because there's a lot of tough guys in this tournament that could win this tournament, and we didn't see Ace as somebody who would really be contending for that title. But yeah, he's dominating right now, point wise. So yeah, good stuff for Ace. Hoping for the best for him. I don't have him winning, but if he wins it, that would be very cool. So yeah, after that, we can go right on into our Impact review here. So starting off, as we always do, with some BTI. We had interesting little segment for Iceman Intel, where he just basically says that Masha Slamovich is working on a kill wall, and then sent it to a video, like a little vignette of her wiping blood on different pictures of women, and then ripping up a picture of Havoc.
Like just the women or like the locker room?
So some of them were the locker room, some of them were people on the indies.
Okay.
It was just a mess of people. Like, there was Gail Kim was there. I think Mickey James was on the wall. Veda Scott was the person. Yeah, Veda Scott was the person that she was wiping blood on. She hasn't faced her in Impact, because she's not in Impact. There was some of them were like the jobbers that she's beating. Some of them were just like random people. So yeah, weird stuff. But yeah, Iceman also claims that Havoc took this match against Masha because she wanted to prove that the Decay can get big wins against big names to deserve a title shot against the Influence. So if Havoc beats Masha and ends her streak, they might be in line for a title match. And, I don't know if that's how title matches work, if you just beat a random singles competitor who's not in your
especially tag team title match.
Yeah. Like, I mean, if you're racking up wins over and over again in the tag division, yeah. But again, we've talked about the Impact Knockouts tag division is basically two teams. Yeah, it's basically the Influence and then the Decay. That's it. As of right now,
when they're not doing single stuff.
Yeah. Then we got our BTI match. It was Black Taurus's return to Impact. He's been off for a little bit, versus Laredo Kid. And yeah, they gave them a lot of time in this match, I thought. But it flew by.
They gave them like 14 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense that these guys work well together. They work for the same company in AAA. Laredo Kid has knocked it out of the park basically every time he gets in the ring in Impact. Black Taurus, the same thing, especially when he has these singles matches. He's been very impressive.
Yeah, and he doesn't get as much run as a singles wrestler, definitely.
Yeah.
booked with Decay, and usually Crazy Steve takes on more of the singles matches. Laredo Kid gets a lot of run as an X Division wrestler, so we don't see Black Taurus, as much as we did tonight.
Yeah, and that's a shame because I've thoroughly enjoyed Black Taurus. I know Pat really enjoys Black Taurus as well. Angelo, you've said in the past you enjoy his work.
Yep.
So I mean, give us more Black Taurus. Come on,
Please.
what are you doing, Impact? But yeah, this was really good. I thought that it really just shows that Black Taurus looks like a big guy, but he's very agile as well. He can hang with the X Division guys, especially somebody as high flying as Laredo Kid. The crowd was really into this as well, and Laredo Kid picks up the win. Good stuff. Don't know where this leads either of them. This wasn't like a storyline match that was built up like we've had in the past for some matches on BTI. Maybe it puts Laredo Kid in a position to get another chance at getting into the Ultimate X match. Who knows? But we'll see. We'll see where we go from here. But hoping Black Taurus is back for a while and we get some more solo stuff from him because he is absolutely fantastic. This would take us to our main show, and the main show kicks off with a video package of what happened last week. But then we get the intro, and it is they've changed it for the lead up to Slamiversary. We got the old 2000 as they put on Twitter and social media. It is the 2004 intro for TNA Impact with the old TNA logo.
Wow, predates my time watching then.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I think maybe this is gonna lead us to maybe every week we're gonna get an old TNA song and intro package. So maybe you'll get to reminisce about your olden days.
Yeah, maybe.
Just throw in some random beautiful people in there too.
I can't like really remember the intro for TNA back in the day. I gotta find the YouTube video and watch it again because I don't really remember one. Never stuck out to me like the WWE one does.
Okay. Yeah.
I gotta look it up.
All right. So we start off the show with our first match. It is the next X Division qualifiers. Commentary says it is Trey Miguel versus Alex Shelley. And yeah, I think this was a very good matchup again to start off. They've been doing it where these X Division matches have been the openers, and when they do, they just knock it out of the park.
And this one's no exception. This one was incredible.
Yeah.
So there's a little built-in story too. With it, they said Alex Shelley kind of helped Trey Miguel once he left wrestling a little. They said left wrestling, but he left Impact, so potentially talked to WWE, and then he came back. So they said Shelley, was there for him and is helping him and works with him and stuff. So they kind of give that story where Shelley is a giver in the industry, and Trey Miguel.
Yeah. Yeah, and also goes. Oh, no, go ahead.
No, you go. I'm good.
All right. I was gonna say it keeps on going with this story of Alex Shelley just has his claws in everyone basically. Like we talked about before, he helped Jay White get through New Japan as one of his teachers. He helped Trey get back into Impact and choose where he wanted to go. Did he want to go and try to get into the WWE system, or did he want to stick around and try to grow himself as a singles competitor in Impact? He's
cool.
He must. Yeah. I feel like he has to.
Interesting.
But yeah, it's just wild, just the amount of range that he has. Even if he doesn't have a school and he's just teaching people on the fly and stuff like that, impressive stuff, definitely. So Shelley definitely felt like he was working a more aggressive style, as he has been for the past few weeks, or even months at this point. very, very much playing up like the heel of the match. Whereas Trey was obviously the underdog babyface trying to come back as Shelley was just beating up on him. At one point, Shelley threw Trey out of the ring, started doing push-ups in the ring.
Yeah, very unexpected for a machine gun.
Yeah, absolutely. This felt like a very like stereotypical overconfident heel to just be like tossing people out and while they're recovering, doing push-ups, working out, stretching out.
Homage to Scott Steiner.
Yeah. Trey would get back in this and they'd be trading blows throughout this. There were multiple times where everybody looked like, I could finish this match here, but I just can't because the other person knows exactly how I'm going to finish this. They end up going to the top rope towards the end of this match, and it looks like they're going to do like a Spanish fly, but commentary calls it I think it was a dynamite superplex or something like that. Looked absolutely phenomenal by Shelley. And it looked like Shelley was going to be able to put Trey away after this, but Trey gets out of it. And then they just start kind of trading off roll-ups and pinning predicaments. And it looks like Shelley might win, and then all of a sudden Trey rolls him up, and then Shelley gets out of it, and Shelley goes to try to get the pin again. Trey gets a hold of him, rolls him up. Looks like he might have grabbed the tights. At least Shelley kind of situated like he was. But Trey wins with the roll up. Shelley then grabs his pants and pulls at them to the ref. The ref doesn't even look really, and then Shelley just marches out as Trey celebrates. And commentary is talking about how Shelley felt like he was robbed and wasn't a gracious loser. He's looked very upset, and that he's been looking more, even this more aggressive side of him couldn't help him get this win. But I thought this was a fantastic kickoff match.
Yeah, I mean, this is better than your average AEW match. Really, this was a really, really good X Division showdown. I think it's a shame. I'm thinking of it, the viewership isn't going to be so high for this episode probably because it's just in the middle, on the road to Slamiversary. But this was one of the best matches I've seen on Impact Wrestling that I can remember.
Yeah, absolutely, especially on the free TV stuff.
Right, that's exactly. Yeah, it was just so much story for a match that really didn't have story going into it. It was really, really incredible.
Yeah, it felt like a match that you could throw on one of the Impact Plus shows, just randomly on the card. Just be like, oh, we've only had 2 weeks to fill this card up. Hey, we'll throw in Trey Miguel and Alex Shelley. We'll give them a little bit of story here, and they'll knock it out of the park because we really need matches.
Yeah.
Kind of like how they've thrown in Shelly and Mike Bailey at Multiverse of Matches. We had the Chris Sabin and Jay White match. We had the Jay White and Alex Shelley match a few weeks ago, or months ago at this point. That they've just been thrown on these cards, and it's like, okay, they have a little bit of build up, but they just knock it out of the park every time. So yeah. After this, we go backstage. We got the Briscoes and Josh cutting a promo about the Violent by Design and how they're all going to win the title, or they're going to win tonight. They're going to stand tall, and then they're going to go to Slamiversary. Josh is going to beat Eric Young and show that he is still the face of Impact, and that Eric Young might have done everything that he has that is available to someone in Impact, but that's time passed, and now it's Josh's time to run things. As the Briscoes are about to leave, the Good Brothers show up, basically say that you can't be calling yourselves the real Impact World Champs or the best World Impact Tag Champs of all time or current because you haven't beaten the Good Brothers. And until you beat the Good Brothers are still the real team that runs the Impact Tag Division. So they basically throw the gauntlet down to them, which would later be confirmed by Scott that we are having at Slamiversary the Good Brothers versus the Briscoes for the tag titles. Hopefully it's a good match. They had their match at Multiverse of Matches, and I thought it underperformed. But I think it was more of the Briscoes had literally just wrestled a 25 minute classic with FTR, then had to run across the not run, but drive 30 minutes away, recover, and then go out and do this match with the Good Brothers that had a really weird ending. I think there's a lot of things that punished that match, prevent it from being so as good as it could be. Hopefully, this match at Slamiversary can show everybody what the Multiverse of Matches match could have been.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully, I guess this is a bigger stage now, Slamiversary. So on a bigger stage, hopefully they perform even better.
Yeah. There's actually something up for grabs in it with the Impact tag titles. So hopefully everybody can connect well. They can work well together. There's good chemistry, or better chemistry that there was. And yeah, I mean, we've been talking about how the Good Brothers have been looking better since they have officially been brought back into Bullet Club. So maybe that can bring
they have a purpose now. So
yeah.
Win or lose, it'll be interesting to see what the Good Brothers do next.
Yeah, absolutely. After this, we get Masha Slamovich versus Havoc. This starts off with them jaw jacking a bit before just slapping each other and beating the crap out of each other really quick. And then it's almost like it was a squash match again, because while it was Havoc actually put in some offense, Masha just dominates, hits the snowplow, and wins.
They should have not had her use the snowplow here.
Yeah.
In hindsight, you're not going to pick up Havoc and do that move very well. And it didn't turn out well. No. Could have had her choke her out with a sleeper hold or something.
Yeah.
There should have been a better ending to this. I get it. We all knew going into this was probably going to be a squash match, because Havoc hasn't really been presented like a serious singles wrestler in a very long time in Impact.
Hey man, she had a Knockouts championship match a few weeks ago at Under Siege.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Did she do anything to get that match? Rosemary lost the previous match. So.
Right. So it's interesting, and she's a former Impact champion, so she's got the resume to make for a perfect person to squash, basically. Yeah. But again, they probably could have did that a little better, knowing Havoc is not someone that probably can take a suplex very well. So yeah, they could have approached it better. It made Masha look stronger, while maybe showing that she has other moves in her arsenal too.
Yeah,
it could have been a better squash match. Is all I was getting to.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Masha wins. Rosemary was at ringside. She comes in afterwards to try to check on Havoc. Then Crazy Steve and Black Taurus run out to check on her, and then it cuts to black and we go to commercial. They never mentioned this again. Interesting note, apparently Masha was at GCW, I guess it was last week or the week before, and she faced Mike Bailey, and a lot of people are saying that was one of the indie best matches of the year so far.
Wow.
So yeah, interesting stuff. Yeah.
So not on her, Masha.
No. Her character and Impact is just and her presentation in Impact hasn't been I am a top tier wrestler. It's more of I'm just very powerful and beat jobbers. Yeah, and I've been doing that for 9 matches at this point. Yeah, basically since the beginning of 2022. Maybe even starting in December at this point. I don't remember.
I think it was a little earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. So bizarre choice to keep dragging this out. I don't know where
it seems like now it's going to come to a point. She faced Havoc. She's got this kill list. So
yeah,
we'll see where it goes.
I'd assume Rosemary is next, just because Rosemary's going to be like, "Oh, you beat Havoc." And
they didn't set anything up though. They should have
no, they should have.
For did some. They could have did something after the match, but yes. Rosemary just looked kind of shocked, and everyone was shocked. So
yeah, maybe we'll find out later. Because I feel like that could be I don't think I want it on Slamiversary, but I feel like they could just throw that onto Slamiversary and be like, okay, this is Masha's first pay-per-view match, and it's her versus Rosemary. But I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
it depends on what they want to do, what they have planned for her. Like, do they have her becoming an actual person who's facing people regularly, or are they just gonna still one match, draw her out some more? How much plans do they have for her to go for a title at this point? Because I feel like that's the only proper way to do this at this point, is if you're bringing her to actually beat competitors on your roster as quickly as she just did, then I feel like maybe they're gonna make her a challenger for the title.
Yeah,
but it feels like that. Yeah, it just feels like we don't know what's gonna happen in Queen of the Mountain yet. So that makes everything up in the air of well, is there gonna be a screwy finish? Is there gonna be what's gonna happen afterwards? Then I feel like it'll make it clear what they have planned. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully this isn't they built up Masha for so long. She's going to get a title shot and then immediately lose. Because I feel like that would be a waste.
It depends how they do it.
Yeah. After this, we go backstage, and Trey is backstage celebrating with two random people and Blake Christian. Alex Shelley is also there. He says he's proud of Trey. They hug. They get a fist bump. He leaves. And Trey basically talks with Blake a little bit before Kenny King shows up, mocking them and talking about how Trey got lucky and he lost his X Division title when the lights were the brightest. And unlike him, he's not an afterthought, because Kenny King is still the greatest X Division champion of your lifetime. Before Blake Christian interrupts, and then Kenny says, "I don't even know who you are. Unlike me, who everybody knows that I am Kenny, King." And so Trey says, "You know what? Hey, if you're so confident that you can beat a nobody like Blake here, how about you put your spot in Ultimate X on the line next week?"
They don't mention his name once, actually, I think, in this promo. I know you said it, but
yeah.
But that's interesting that Impact is expecting you to remember who Blake Christian is.
Yes.
Because sure, he's been on some stuff, but it was really that was that Super X Cup, and then he was on some other stuff before that, but very sporadically. And not on regular television, really.
Yes. Yeah, and it's been a while since he's been back. He came back right after he got released from WWE. He was back for one or two matches. He lost them both, I believe, or he might have won a match on BTI or something. But that was months ago at this point.
Right.
But yeah, I agree. I don't believe they did say his name. I'm just saying it just because I know who it is.
Yeah. I just wanted to point it out. Take by Impact and not say this is Blake Christian.
Yeah. And so Kenny falls into this trap that Trey claims he has set. And next week we are getting Blake Christian versus Kenny King. And if Kenny King loses, Blake Christian gets his spot in Ultimate X.
Which I might be the minority of Impact fans here, but I would be very disappointed if Kenny King's not in this match now.
I would be as well, because they said he beat Chris Bay.
Yeah, right.
So who has been positioned as a he doesn't win every time, but he's with Bullet Club.
But yeah, and it was a screwy match, you know.
Yeah.
But like our point was like Kenny King has been brought along like to honor no more, but he's he's a decorated wrestler, especially even in Impact. You said it, he's a former X Division champion, so he's a lot more than just what Vincent is in it, honor no more. But he's basically being portrayed at the same level, and I'm like, I totally disagree with that. So seeing him be able to be in this match at Slamiversary, I was very excited for Kenny King. I'm like, this is the level of wrestler he is, and this is where he be. So to see that opportunity taken away, albeit like Christian's also a good young wrestler, I'd be just disappointed for Kenny King.
100%. He's been fantastic since showing up.
Right.
So it would feel very odd that you did all of this just to be like, hey, you finally got a big singles win in Impact since returning. Guess what? We're erasing that match basically because you're losing to somebody who isn't signed to this company and hasn't been here in months and has never been treated as like, hey, I'm Blake Christian. Like, I'm like a big deal.
Yeah, end of the day, like, it doesn't really change the direction of the outcome of the match that's going to Slamiversary, but like, again, it's just like personally, like, I feel like Kenny King has done enough that he like deserves to be taken seriously.
Agreed.
Impact on television, so
yeah,
that's how I feel.
Yeah, and for somebody who like is very prominent, like his whole thing is like, I'm the best and I've been the best for years, so he acknowledges he's a veteran, but to be like, I don't want to say duped, but to like fall to this like really goofy thing of Trey just being like, oh, you can beat this nobody here, my best friend who's a nobody. You should just put your title or your chance on the line for that and be like, oh, fine, I'll do that. It makes him look kind of silly, especially if he loses. Then it's like, what the hell was this even for?
Yeah.
Why didn't you just put Blake Christian in the match originally? Why did you have to, like, there's still 2 slots open.
Yeah, right.
Why isn't Blake Christian going for one of the 2 open spots?
Yeah. And we could all be getting mad for nothing.
This
that's
could
true. Be a warm-up match for Kenny King. So we got to see next week. But did you also, I could, my lapse of memory here, did you mention Alex Shelley in this promo?
Just like he gave Trey, like a hug, a little fist bump, say he was proud of him.
Exactly. I think it was like, he left that match kind of like, oh, is he like, showing a dark side or something? But like it all was good here.
Yeah. It's still interesting to see what we're gonna get from Alex Shelley going on forward. Like, how long is he actually, like, is he gonna go away for a little bit again? Is he gonna come back?
Yeah, he doesn't seem like too interested in being like fully committed to Impact. Like, he kind of wants to just do his full-time job and then do some indie dates here and there.
Yeah,
and that's kind of where he is in his career. He's not gonna get a title push in Impact, at least. Like, so he's probably best off for those just one-off appearances when it's like fun, when it's nostalgic, when it when it makes sense storyline wise. So
yeah. After this, we get Rich Swann promo. He says he's still coming for Matt Cardona, and if Matt Cardona still wants to be on his honeymoon, then he's going to come for him wherever and whenever he wants, because he wants the Digital Media Championship. He also says that Matt Raywalt, he wants a match. He wants him to come out from behind the commentator's desk and into the ring to challenge him like a man.
I'm glad they're addressing this. I thought they were going to sweep it under the rug at first, and then I'm like, oh, they're going right at it.
Yeah. Now, this was a little bit silly, the placement. Like, I felt like this should have been like last week mentioned, because right after this we get Chelsea Green versus Jordynne Grace. So clearly Matt Cardona is not on his honeymoon anymore if his wife is here.
Well, commentary addresses that. Yes. And they're like, well, Chelsea could be here at work, but apparently Matt's still on his honeymoon. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that plays into just Matt Cardona being a heel and to want to show up to face, what's his name, Rich Swann. So, no, I had no issue with it. I thought it was kind of funny. Like, they right off the bat, they don't let that slide. So.
Yeah. And Matt Raywalt says that he accepts the match on commentary as well. And they later would make it official that next week we are getting Matt Raywalt versus Rich Swann. Chelsea versus Jordynne Grace in Chelsea's basically return match. I also think possibly Chelsea's first match is being a heel since turning on Mickey.
Impact, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like she turned heel on Mickey and then basically was just helping Matt Cardona win matches.
Yeah.
I don't remember a match that she's had since turning.
Yeah, it was just the multiverse.
Yeah.
Tag match.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So yeah. So her first singles match.
Yeah, first on Impact. Yeah.
So. I thought this was a pretty good match. The crowd was really into it. At least they were really into Chelsea when she came down.
I think this was a really important match because we know where Jordynne Grace stands in this company.
Yes.
It was just a really important match to show like how legit is Chelsea Green going to be presented going forward as a heel now.
Yeah.
And I mean, they gave her, I thought this was going to be a quick match, and I was wrong. It actually went on for a while. Chelsea had offense. She was conniving, and she, had chances to upset Jordynne Grace here. So it wasn't just a one-sided match.
Yeah, I thought this was a really good back and forth match throughout this match. As you said, I felt like throughout this match, anybody could have won this. I thought Chelsea was going to win this just because, as you point out, we know how Jordynne's going to be presented. She's had wins in the past. Fairly recently, she's looked very strong recently as well. It took Matt Cardona several times cheating to beat her. That's basically her only, I guess, losses in the past few months have been
that too. It's like she's barely lost to Matt Cardona, so for her to have a good match with Chelsea Green was kind of unexpected in that sense too.
Yeah.
So no, I mean this is great for Chelsea's outlook going forward. She's an actual competitor and actually has a chance in this Queen of the Mountain.
Yeah. And I think that's the big thing is that I think making sure that, she can be seen as credible for this Queen of the Mountain is big.
Because that whole Mickie James feud was it was
atrocious.
I don't want to say that word, but it was just not ideal presentation for someone that was already an X Division champion. She's not a rookie.
Yeah.
So that's what she Mickie didn't want her to wrestle in because it was her. She was hurt, but now Chelsea Green is a reputable wrestler that has held the X Division title before.
Women's title. Yeah, right.
Women's title. So.
Or knockout title, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
That's getting it all wrong. But
but
anyway, that feud didn't do her justice. I think this match did a lot more for Chelsea Green as a heel than that whole feud did.
Yeah. And I think the fact that it was so drawn out for so long, and it was just hey, the only way to see the conclusion of this feud is not through Impact Plus, not through a regular Impact pay-per-view, but you got to pay extra for this one thing that's we aren't sure if this is a
crossover because they had Nick Aldis in it, and that's a guy that
it wasn't even a singles match.
Right, so
that's how you'd expect a blow-off match to be, and then it's a
blow-off match there, and I guess Mickey's done with Impact for now. So
yeah. Who knows? But on to bigger and brighter things, hopefully, for Chelsea. After this, Honor No More confronts Scott backstage. They want the Good Brothers fired because of unsafe working conditions, because Maria is out indefinitely because of them kind of being in basically Carl Anderson dodged a spear. Maria had entered the ring illegally and Mike speared her. Don't know if that's really the Good Brothers' fault.
Yeah.
But they also say that Yeah, and then they say that if you won't fire them, we want a rematch with them against or at Slamiversary. And Scott says, you know what, that would have been a great idea 10 minutes ago, but 5 minutes ago I signed the paperwork that gave the Good Brothers a match already on Slamiversary. So their dance card is filled because they are facing the Briscoes for the Impact Tag titles, to which they all say, that's our spot. We should have been there. And then Eddie gets in Scott's face, says you might want to reconsider. He says, nope, this is the bigger match. And Eddie says, well, if we don't get what we want, then nobody's getting what they want. And they all leave. Interesting. PCO is back hanging out with Honor No More. So this is the first time in quite some time that we've seen PCO with Honor No More backstage.
Good point. Yeah, I don't think he has the brain capacity to make his own decisions. So
that's true. That is true. It's just very weird that next week PCO is in a match and he's like a babyface, while Honor No More are very obviously heels.
I mean, how could you boo a 55-year-old man that pretends he's Frankenstein in a wrestler
and breaks a bunch of world records? Oh man, did you watch any of those things on his Instagram, Angelo? Apparently,
I did not.
Apparently, he has 15 Guinness Book of World Records.
What?
And some of them. So apparently, I don't know what they do for this, but it's him and Destro, who is his manager in Ring of Honor, and I believe the Indies, at least some of the Indies. They're just doing really random things.
That's usually how the world records work.
Yeah. So one of them was bending the record for bending basketball hoops. It's just him bending a basketball hoop. And he's got the world record stuff around him, and then he gets a medal for it. There's one of him stomping on like a cupcake pan, and then punching another cupcake pan, and it's apparently the record for the quickest breaking of cupcake pans. It's so random, like they are ridiculous. Anybody could do these records, it feels like, but somehow PCO has 15 world records under his belt.
Well, that's good for him.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But it's great stuff, and of course he's in character doing these things.
Right. So I'm sure the person giving him the medals is like, what did I sign up for? Who sent me here?
Yeah. But yeah, I just want PCO to turn total babyface and just come out with the 15 medals for all his world records.
Soon enough, hopefully.
Yeah.
Slamiversary makes sense.
Yes. I can't wait for PCO to be in the Ultimate X match.
Maybe Kurt Angle could come out of retirement for a medal versus medal match.
Oh, hey, man, considering Kurt Angle just had double knee replacement this week, I don't think he's going to be ready for Slamiversary.
Yeah, knee replacement takes
maybe next year.
Maybe in 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe Bound for Glory.
He was there for 3 years. He got time.
Yeah. After this, we get Deonna cutting a promo, basically talking about, Mia Yim coming in. She has her sights set on Deonna because Deonna, even without her 2 championships, is still the face of Impact's Knockout division, and that she is going to, or she doesn't think that Mia really deserves to be in Queen of the Mountain, but she will prove to everybody why Deonna is still the history maker in the Knockouts division. Tasha interrupts and talks about how, we're not really good friends, but the real history maker is me. I was the first woman to win the Women's Ultimate X match. I am the person who beat the greatest in Mickie James. But we both have the same issue. We both don't like Mia Yim, and she's coming for our Thunder. So next week, Savannah has a match against Mia Yim, and there's a spot for you at either the commentary desk or at ringside with me. So we can take out our Mia Yim problem afterwards. To which Deanna just nods and yeah. So and then on commentary afterwards, they say that Deanna will be joining them on commentary for that match next week.
Yeah.
Then we get the match that I think everybody was looking forward to. Chris Sabin versus Frankie Kazarian. Frankie makes his return to the Impact Zone after several years away.
Some fanfare.
Yeah. I was excited for this because Frankie's fantastic. And Chris Sabin's been knocking it out of the park. And I thought this was a really, 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 really good match up until the ending.
Yeah, unfortunately, it wasn't about them wrestling. So, yeah, the ending is they get broken up by Honor No More. So it's a double DQ, or what do you call it? No
contest. No contest,
I'd say. So,
but they gave them so much time just for this ending to be, hey, Honor No More just throws it out.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, Chris Sabin's a work. It was nice to still flying around. So
yeah, especially since we haven't I know on AEW Kazarian's currently in a feud finally on TV for the first time in quite some time.
Yes.
But I feel like Kazarian is somebody who everybody forgets just how good he still is, and then he goes out there, he kills it, but he doesn't get those signature wins anymore, and that's totally fine for his character in AEW right now. I thought this would be a very interesting thing where it's maybe the AEW Impact relationship's back on in some sort of way, and see where Frankie lands. But I think this was just, hey, Frankie was free that day. And
yeah, I look at it more that way.
He's probably still friends with Chris Sabin, and I don't think Impact's gonna be or AEW's gonna be no, you can't go to Impact to have a match against your friend. So yeah, Honor No More beats everybody up, and kind of confused. Kind of interested to see where this goes. Maybe this is going to lead to a multi-man match at Slamiversary. Because afterwards we got Heath and Rhino coming for Honor No More and talking about how, first Honor No More cut a promo and are basically saying that they don't understand why Impact is being celebrated for 20 years because for 20 years or for the entire time Honor No More has been disrespected by Impact, and that was kind of confusing, the wording of this, because Honor No More hasn't been around for that long.
They were just saying the Impact has been nothing but disrespectful for wrestling for 20 years.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I guess if you watch the Hogan and Bischoff era, that might be true. But no, it's a heel comment. But no, I disagree with that.
Yeah. Anyway, Heath and Rhino show up and they say that they're basically just tired of hearing these guys complain all the time about being disrespected when they all have jobs here, and that they were fired from their old jobs. They were forgotten about by their old employer, but now Impact gave them a shot. They got their chance to be here by winning their match a few months ago. So they're signed here. Why are you still complaining about hating this company if you wanted to be signed here? And now they're giving you shots and you're on TV all the time. Whereas people like me, talking about Slater, or Heath, not Slater. It's not called that anymore. It's just Heath. Heath was fired from his previous job. He came here because Impact was the only people that were willing to give him a spot. He got injured, but they stuck with him. And now him and Rhino are going to go for the tag titles eventually. And then Rhino talks about how when he got fired back in 2004, nobody was looking for his job. But in 2005, Impact was the only company that would give him a contract. He got the contract. He accepted it, and he did everything in his power to prove why he should be there and why they should trust him. And they gave him a world title shot, and he took it, and he won his world title. And that Honor No More really, if they wanted to be here, then you shouldn't be complaining that everybody's out to get you if they're giving you the opportunities and you just keep on losing. So then they just start like pushing and shoving, and then security breaks it up. And then we find out later in the night that Heath and Rhino will be facing the OG Kingdom next week.
Yeah, cool. I'll allow it.
Yeah. I just hope we don't get another Team Impact versus Honor No More match for Slamiversary. We don't.
There's a lot of guys that kind of need something, and that kind of could happen, even though it's going to be the same people.
Yeah.
All over again.
Yeah.
Because it could be Sabin, could be Kaz. Probably not. But like, could be Sabin again. It could be Shelly. You know, there's a couple guys that like you would want on Slamiversary that it might.
That's true. After this, we got Raj Singh and Shira versus Bupinder and Morrissey. And again, I thought this was a really good match. Bupinder looked good. He took a lot of the beating throughout this match, as was probably expected. Shira looked fine. I wouldn't say anything more than that. He didn't blow. He doesn't blow it out of the water anytime. Raj was there, but I'd say this was the most offense he's gotten in a while.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then Morrissey was just there basically to be on the outside and have Raj and Shira not allow Bupinder to get over to the corner to make the tag. Finally, Bupinder does, so Morrissey gets that hot tag, runs rough shot. They take control, and then Bupinder is able to hit his diving spear onto Raj for the win, and then Morrissey and Bupinder celebrate. I thought this was a solid match.
Bupinder over. Yeah, it was a solid match. Yes. It gets Bupinder over. That was the main focus. But I think it was also a good, like, gives a full rounded picture of Morrissey, like we keep seeing every week. He becomes like a better, like full rounded character wrestler. So I think it was a little bit of that, but a lot of like, this is Bupinder getting over. He's, got a future and Impact.
Oh, absolutely. And definitely, again, like you said, it's that full picture of when we originally got Morrissey, he was anti-everyone. And then he's just slowly but surely started to trust others. And then now he's trying to help others whenever he can. So, great storytelling for Morrissey and his character. After this, we get a Moose promo. This was absolutely bizarre. So Moose talks about Sammy and how Sammy's a fraud, and that's why he keeps on attacking him from behind, because Sammy knows that he cannot beat Moose in a one-on-one match. He can't beat him in a wrestling match because whenever the last time they had a match, Moose broke Sammy's ankle, and he was out for almost a year. Says Sammy is scared of Moose, and that's why he's going to continue to hide in the shadows like the freak he is. Macklin shows up and says, hey, we've got a big match next week against Morrissey and PCO. I need your head in the game. Don't let Sammy get to you. You got to get it out of your head. Moose says, Sammy's not in my head. And then all of a sudden, like, Sammy's static that he has now comes on, and Moose is freaking out and like looking all over the place, and everybody, Gia and Macklin, are just standing and staring at him. And I'm very confused on if this was them trying to say that the only person that sees and hears the static is Moose, or if Macklin and Gia just didn't care that there was static going on. But then after the static goes away, Macklin just says it again. He's like, "Get your head checked. Get it, Sammy, out of your head."
Yeah, maybe that was the interpretation that Moose and only Moose is feeling that.
Which just I've just gotta wonder, like, does Sammy have superpowers now?
Maybe.
You
know, with his closed iPhone screen, he could do a lot of things.
Yeah. Apparently, he left the last time he beat up Moose with his bat. He beat his iPhone into the skull of Moose, and now he just keeps on hearing the static of his phone because his phone just going to random YouTube videos.
There you go.
This takes us to our main event. It is Violent by Design versus the Briscoes and Josh Alexander. I thought this was a really fun main event. I think that this was the strongest that Diener has looked maybe since joining Violent by Design.
Maybe since we've watched Impacts together.
Yeah.
Honestly.
He didn't look like a scrub. He didn't look like he was the fall guy. He was getting offense in on everybody. He was holding his own against the Briscoes. He was holding his own against Josh for a bit. Yeah, I thought that, like, I think the only person who didn't look great in this match was Joe Doering, just because he wasn't in it that much. But then he hit probably the move of the night in this, the move of the match, when Josh gets thrown out of the ring near the end of this match, and he just hits a running cross body on him out of nowhere. So yeah, I think everybody had looked very serious in this match. They looked good.
For me, as someone that wasn't too familiar with the Briscoes indie work, it was nice to see them kind of in the ring.
Yeah, and they were in the ring for the most of this. Like, Josh was the afterthought kind of for their team.
Protect Morrissey.
Yeah. Which makes total sense. Like, you're not going to want your champion to, especially if your team is going to lose, you don't want him taking a brunt of the offense. Unlike in certain companies where your babyface champions are booked to lose all the time. But yeah, the Violent by Design was clearly using their numbers advantage to their advantage, I should say, and they were just controlling this for a lot of the time, keeping people in their corners on their side of the ring. And then towards the end, it looked like the Briscoes and Josh were going to take over. Violent by Design started distracting the ref. That allowed for Eric to hit Mark Briscoe with his the Violent by Design flag. But then, it looks like they're going to come back. It looks like the Briscoes are still going to win this match. They've got Diener in the position that they want, but Joe Doring grabs the ref. Diener grabs the hockey mask, hits Mark with the hockey mask, and then Eric Young hits him with the pile driver for the win. Violent by Design win, pinning the tag champs. And I've just got to say, shouldn't that put Violent by Design back in the tag team title picture? And you can say, well, Eric Young isn't part of the tag team, but that's not true because they freebird the tag titles. So technically, I think they should be in line for another title shot now.
Well, technically, sure. Yeah, this is all about the singles title match that they're building up.
Yes.
That some people have felt didn't feel like it was the right match for Slamiversary, but they're trying to prove their point. Eric Young was the right choice here. So
yeah, and Eric Young looked really good in this match as well. Josh was not able to hit his C4 spike on anybody. He did try to put it on Eric, wasn't able to do so. And yeah, I thought this was a really strong episode of Impact. Match quality wise, I felt like everything other than the Havoc and Masha match, I think everything was knocked out of the water here.
Yeah, I agree with that. Absolutely. I guess to rant a little more about Eric Young, watching the main event, thinking about especially the promo and stuff, he makes sense at Slamiversary just in a lot of the ways because if you put Eddie Edwards or Steve Macklin, like the two more obvious heel choices to go for the title, you wouldn't expect them to win here. The Impact's going to do something right, and they've been doing things right, where like they're going to put Eddie Edwards in that spot where it's going to feel like he has a chance to win, where Slamiversary wouldn't have been that moment. So even though it's a big pay-per-view, it's a big four, they got to fill the seats. I think Eric Young is the right plug-and-play choice here.
Yeah, and it also gets that whole idea of, it's Impact's 20th anniversary. It's a credible person who's been with the company for so long, basically a TNA original. So
instead of going with the feel-good story of just Chris Sabin versus Josh Alexander, like this one works. Like this, they built this for 6 weeks.
Yeah. And again, even if it like you threw in Chris Sabin, that wouldn't be like a match that hasn't happened lately. Like they had a match last year.
Yeah, true.
For the X Division title. And you could throw Shelley in there, but again, like Shelley seems like he's got his own things going on.
He doesn't hold the same caliber as Eric Young in this sense, to me, at least. As an Impact fan, like Alex Shelley has been great, but Chris Sabin had the better singles career, actually.
Yeah.
In fact, so like Eric Young makes sense over Alex Shelley, definitely.
Yeah. Next week, we've got a few matches announced. We've got, as I point out, Matt Raywalt versus Rich Swann. We've got Moose and Macklin versus W. Morrissey and PCO. Heath and Rhino versus the OG Kingdom. Mia Yim versus Savannah Evans. And Kenny King versus Blake Christian for Kenny's spot in Ultimate X. That will be this week's episode of the Impact Power Hour. We will be back next week as we continue on the road to Slamiversary.
Slamiversary.
Yes, sir. This weekend, we do have AEW's Double or Nothing, so we will have most likely a predictions podcast some point on Saturday or early Sunday.
Will be guaranteed.
Yeah. Sunday, we will be doing Double or Nothing, so we'll have a review for that after the show or Monday morning. We also are going to be recording Angelo's mukbang punishment from whenever you lost last.
Royal Rumble.
Yeah, which is just weird since you're the champ that you're going to be punished.
Yeah, it's
that's what happens.
I could wear the belt while it's happening.
Oh God,
if my stomach allows it. Yeah.
So tune into all of that. We will be posting all that on our different channels. Obviously, the mukbang won't be on the podcast feed, but it will be most likely on our YouTube channel soon. Once we record it,
put, like the sounds of me vomiting on podcast feeds.
Oh God! I mean, hey, there's some people who like that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Make sure to follow us on all our social medias. Twitter at Deep Six Wrestling. It's wrestling without the G at the end. Subscribe to our podcast or subscribe to our YouTube channel at Deep Six Wrestling. If you want to listen to the podcast, it's on there as well most times. But also we do put our punishments up there when we have them. And then make sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of the platforms we are on. We're on basically all the major podcast streaming platforms at this point. And also make sure that you leave a review, a rating, something. Let us know how you like it. Other than that, we will talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.